Hello, and thank you for joining today's webinar on CIEE's Teach in Chile programs. My name is Luke Beland, and I'll be leading today's presentation. To start out, I'd like to give an overview of what we're going to talk about today. We'll start out with an introduction to CIEE, who we are. We'll talk about teaching abroad generally, why people do it. We'll get into some specifics of our Teach in Chile programs. We'll talk about the benefits that you can get from going on a CIEE program. And then we'll have plenty of time to take your questions. As a participant in the webinar, I actually can't hear your voice, but feel free to type in any questions that you may have to the questions tool on your webinar toolbar. You can type those in now if you know what you'd like to ask ahead of time. You can type those in as they occur to you as you're going through the information. And of course, we'll have time for questions at the end for a little Q&A. I might hold the answers until the end, just so we can move through the presentation smoothly. So that's me. My name again is Luke. I am the coordinator for a whole bunch of Teach Abroad programs here at CIEE, including Teach in Chile. CIEE is located in Portland, Maine. You can see the office there on the left side of the picture with the Atlantic Ocean behind it. We are a nonprofit, non-governmental organization, and for almost 70 years, we've been helping tens of thousands of people have transformative experiences through education exchange, whether they are coming to the U.S. on a work exchange program or a high school exchange student, whether they are American university students studying abroad through our study centers, or today what we're talking about are programs for teaching English in countries around the world. I like to start these presentations with a question. So you're here to get more information, and I hope we'll be able to answer all of your questions, but it's important to start with a little bit of kind of self-reflection. Why do you want to do this? Where are you hoping that this experience, this journey, will take you? Everyone is coming to this from different backgrounds, different goals, different hopes, and those are all very important to kind of help us find a program that's a good fit for you as an individual. People have all kinds of different reasons for teaching abroad. There's a lot of different motivations. One of the great things about teaching abroad is that it lets you meet new people. These are your students, obviously. If you're a teacher overseas, you have an automatic connection to people, something that a tourist or visitor or even a study abroad participant doesn't automatically get. You have a connection with your students, with your colleagues, and with your fellow participants on your CIEE Teach Abroad program. So people, of course, is central to teaching abroad. I'll make a quick note here. You'll see in the upper right, this is actually a photo from one of our Teach Abroad participants. So keep an eye out for those photo credits. We're sort of able to share these as experiences that our teachers have actually had. And in the future, maybe we'll use some of your photos for our presentations. Language is obviously a very big reason why a lot of people teach abroad. In Chile, some of the programs do require that you know some Spanish, but there are also programs that don't have any Spanish language requirement. This means that it's a great opportunity to either learn Spanish from scratch or to take the Spanish you already have and bring it to an even higher level. You can study for years in a classroom, but you get so much more when you actually immerse yourself in a community that speaks the language you're hoping to learn. A little bit maybe less obvious or less tangible are the skills that you practice as a teacher. I myself taught English for 2 years in Jordan. I wasn't trained as a teacher beforehand, and I'm not working as a teacher now, but it was very easy for me to point to some really important skills that I was able to develop and practice and exercise by teaching English in a different country. So this list is something to look over. These are things that as a teacher in a foreign country, you'll practice and improve, and they apply to lots of jobs, either as a teacher or outside of the teaching field. It's really a heavy, transformative experience that is a turning point in a lot of people's lives. And of course, a new perspective. If you've traveled outside and lived outside of your home country before, you probably know what I'm talking about when I say this, but there's really no substitute for the new perspectives on the world and different cultures and people that you get from living in a new country. It's not your home. You'll see the world from a whole new perspective, and it's a great learning opportunity. And of course, people do have a lot of fun while they are doing a program like this. If you're an outdoorsy person who likes mountains and trekking and skiing and deserts, Chile is an amazing place with a huge diversity of really dramatic and beautiful and exciting landscapes. There's also a lot of cultural things to experience. On the left, you can see the coastal town of Valparaiso, which is easily accessible from folks who are placed in Santiago. It's an artistic hub for the city. And of course, football and Spanish language culture is other things to tap into that can be really, really fun, really enjoyable and memorable. As much as we love showing beautiful, fun pictures of our participants doing cool things, I do have to throw in a slide with some just basic information. When you're looking at teaching in Chile, here are the details. You've got 2 programs that CIEE offers that you can choose from. I'll start with the program on the left. This is a program that's just called Teach in Chile, or Teach in Chile Regular. Participants in that program will be teaching classes at a system of community colleges. Most of the placements are in Santiago. There are a few in other locations along the coast, or a very small number in other cities, but mainly in Santiago. Intermediate Spanish skills are normally required for this program. I can tell you that they are considering waiving them. They accepted several candidates without high intermediate Spanish for the 2017 program that starts in February, and they may do so again for the 2018 program. So this is a traditional classroom teaching position. You'll be responsible for planning your lessons, managing your classroom, doing grades, going to staff meetings with your fellow profesores. So this is a traditional teaching position. It's a 2-semester job that runs from February to December each year. The other option we call Teach in Chile Professional. This is a kind of a different way of going about it. This is an individualized program. You'll be teaching one-on-one, a private instructor with a language training company. Their headquarters is in Santiago, and that's where teachers will be living and working. In the mornings, you'll be working with adults, often from the business community, helping them with their English. And then in the afternoons, when the school's let out, you'll meet with students, children of different ages to help them improve their languages. There's a lot of traveling involved in this second offering. Instead of having one classroom where everyone comes to you, you are actually a traveling teacher. You go to your clients. So there's a lot of buses and metros and taxis involved getting around. Your employer is going to reimburse you for some of those expenses, especially for taxis. But it is a great way to see the city and to get to know the neighborhoods really well. And Spanish language skills are not required on the Teach in Chile Professional program because it's a company founded and run by foreigners, by mainly American and UK citizens. The Teach in Chile Professional program is available each spring. There's a March to December session, and each fall from July to December. In January and February, Chile goes on its summer vacation, so there's not as much work for teachers at that time, which is why the programs are structured how they are. Both of these programs require some teaching certifications. If folks already have an education degree, that usually fits the bill. If not, we're looking for a TEFL or TESOL or CELTA certificate. We call it TEFL. We consider these equivalent credentials. TEFL stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. We've actually developed our own 150-hour TEFL course, which is automatically included in both programs to help applicants meet the requirements. If people already have a TEFL certificate or an equivalent credential, they may opt out of this portion of their program, and the fee gets reduced by about $750. To zoom in a little more on the TEFL certificate itself, This is an online course that we deliver. We've developed it ourselves to meet a demand for high quality instruction and preparation for people who are going to have an experience teaching English in other countries. It's automatically included in both of our programs in Chile. The course is a 150-hour offering. 130 of those hours are online coursework that's split up into 11 weeks of structured lessons and activities. You'll have weekly meetings through Skype or virtual connection with your small class. We cap our classes at 13. The same instructor will be with you each week for those discussions, and they'll give individualized feedback to each of the participants. So this is a really high-quality online course that seeks to replicate some of the best things of having a brick-and-mortar course, like a regular university course where you get to know your classmates and your professor a little bit. We replicate those in an online setting, but then give you the ability to go through the readings and activities and assignments at your own pace each week in preparation for your weekly meeting. The certificate is recognized worldwide and it's valid for a lifetime, which means this is an investment. If you're going to teach abroad in a second country in South America or anywhere around the world, having this TEFL certificate is going to open the door for you at a lot of different schools. It's very helpful. It can never quite replace having a full degree in education and teacher licensing, of course, but it's great for use internationally and great to use on a resume if teaching or teaching English is part of your plans. I mentioned earlier that there is a fee involved in this program. We can talk about that. So I want to describe what exactly that is getting you. With CIEE Teach Abroad, we are offering a program. It's a whole package of services. And here's a diagram I like to use to explain it. The central service is the job. Without the job, our program doesn't mean a whole lot or doesn't give you a whole lot. But sometimes just getting a job somewhere isn't enough to really prepare you and help you be successful. And that's the goal of our program. It's to add other services to just getting a job to make sure that you're prepared and you know what to expect. And those are things that will help you be successful and have a good experience in South America and Chile. It starts before you go with pre-departure support from our Teach Abroad staff. We have a full-time team here in Portland, Maine, just dedicated to helping people sign up for Teach Abroad programs and get ready to go. We talked a little bit about the TEFL course. That's an important part of the preparation package that we offer for Chile. We'll also get you ready for interviews. And once the interviews are successful, we'll help you apply for a visa, which can be pretty complicated. So we're here to support you, help you out, and walk you through the process, make it clear. Once you arrive in Chile, there's an in-country orientation. So you'll get to spend time with your fellow participants and with our staff in Santiago, getting ready to live in Chile and transition to living and working there. We'll talk a lot about things like cell phones and banking and even cultural differences and how to adjust. Assistance finding housing is a big part of the orientation and also our pre-departure support. Permanent accommodations are not included in the Teach in Chile programs. We have some temporary housing for 2 weeks for professional and 4 weeks for the community college program to help you get your bearings and get your feet under you before you rent a room in an apartment or find some roommates to live with. Our orientations are designed to give you lots of tools like favorite websites, Facebook groups, vocabulary, what to look for to make sure an apartment is safe. There are specific concerns in Chile. They have an earthquake zone, of course, and they have building standards and building inspections to design, make sure that their buildings are up to the task of withstanding earthquakes. So we'll teach you how to look for the certification stickers that they put on buildings for that, for example. For U.S. citizens and residents, our programs also include travel and emergency medical insurance. This isn't a full replacement for traditional U.S. Health insurance product, but it's designed as a safety net that will reimburse you for accidents, illnesses, things that are unforeseen, unexpected, that happen while abroad. Hopefully you won't need to use it at all. And a big part of our program and a big benefit we offer is having staff people in Chile who are there to back you up. If you've got questions, you can go to somebody outside of your school to get answers. If you have an emergency, we're there to support you and give you advice and help you out. This is a way to make sure that you're not alone in a new country, that you have experienced people who are ready to help you. We have 24/7 emergency availability, and in the event that a natural disaster, for example, does happen, we can help communicate quickly and check up on everybody, and then liaise with parents if necessary. So there's a broad range of support that we do offer. And even after your program is finished, we have a great alumni network of more than 300,000 people who have taught abroad, who have studied abroad, who have gone on a work exchange program. It's an amazing global network that you can be a part of. So that's our CIEE Teach in Chile program. Those are the details of what's on offer. What do you think? Does this sound like something you're interested in? Teaching abroad is an amazing opportunity to see the world, to help students improve their language skills, and to improve your own understanding. That brings us to the end of information part of the webinar and to the beginning of the questions part. So some of you are already sending in questions, which is great. If you have things you'd like to know, look for the question feature on your webinar tools and start typing them in. Send them my way. I'll give people a minute to send in their questions. I've also put my contact information on the screen. After the webinar, you can send me emails with questions. You can give me a call during business hours Eastern time to talk about teaching abroad, and I'm more than willing to help you get started. Our website is ciee.org/teach. There's a ton of information on there about each of our different programs, including Chile. And there's actually a great selection of blogs from participants that you can read as well in the Teach in Action section. All right, and with that, I am going to start answering some questions here. So first question, is there an age limit to teach in Chile? There is not a age limit that we've run into for teaching in Chile. I think that once you get to retirement age, I'd say mid to late 50s, you might start having trouble with getting visas to work in Chile if the consulates aren't convinced that it's appropriate for you to be coming to work rather than to retire. So I'd say that as you're approaching retirement age, anything above 50 is a maybe. It's also possible that the employers would interview you and find that you're not a good fit. So these are selective positions, and final decisions on hiring are up to the employers, not necessarily CIEE. So our goal is to help as many people teach abroad as possible. We're here to help you. I will say that over 50 years of age, the answer is maybe. Another question, what are the last dates for applying to the Teach in Chile program? The answer is going to be a little bit different depending which program you're looking at. I'm checking now to see the exact deadline so I can get specific on it. So if you would like to teach at community college in Chile, our next start date is in February 2018, and you'll want to apply by August 1st, 2017. That's the Teach in Chile Community College program. For our Teach in Chile Professional, the one-on-one private instruction program, you should apply by February 1st for our July 2017 start date. So that's coming up. If you'd like to teach in Chile starting this July, you've got a little less than 2 weeks to finish and submit your application. If you're hoping to teach one-on-one, the Teach in Chile Professional program for March 2018, you'll want to apply by September 1st of this year. We have a question about the ages of students on the different programs. Let me see if I can track back to that slide, which might be helpful. So to talk about ages of students on the two programs, the regular Teach in Chile program with the DUOC community colleges, your students are going to be 17 or 18 years old or older. Many of them will be in their 20s and 30s. So a range of students who are high school graduates. On the Teach in Chile professional program, your students are going to be grouped into two categories. One are adults, usually business people, and the other are students generally under the age of 18. Students who are in middle school or high school, maybe elementary school as well, or young kids who are hoping to work, or their parents, I suppose, are hoping to work on their English. So if you're interested in young children, you should think about our Teach in Chile professional program. If you're mostly interested in young adults or people in their 20s and 30s, community college students, then the Teach in Chile DUOC program is going to be a better fit for you. Another question is, what is lesson planning like? Is there a set curriculum? How much planning do we generally need to do? So the answer is kind of in the middle. Both of these institutions have resources, textbooks, and some broad outlines that you'll be following. So you're not going in with zero, with a piece of chalk and a chalkboard and expecting to teach English. At the same time, you'll be expected to plan out individual lessons and plan out units of how you plan to move through a textbook to meet the goals in an outline, which is pretty normal for teachers anywhere. So you'll be given some instructions. You're not completely on your own, but you will need to expect to spend some time lesson planning outside of your classroom hours. Here's a good question. I have a BA, a bachelor's degree in English, but not a degree in education or a teaching license. Would I still need to get TEFL certified to qualify for this position? The answer to that question is yes. If you have an education degree, that essentially takes the place of TEFL, and you're able to opt out of the TEFL course if you'd like. If you have an English degree by itself, that's not going to be quite enough. You'll still need to sign up for the TEFL course. Another good question, what's the pay like? The pay for these two positions actually winds up being very close to the same. It's around 535,000 Chilean pesos per month. With the current exchange rate, that's around $800 US per month. That may not sound like a lot, but the cost of living in Chile is lower than it is in the United States. Most people, to give you an idea of the living expenses, wind up sharing an apartment with other roommates, other housemates. One person's share of that cost is usually 200,000 Chilean pesos per month. And with the exchange rate, people wind up spending around $300 US on rent each month. So it's less than half of your salary. So you're earning $800 a month after taxes and paying around $300 per month in rent, typically as an individual. So that leaves a fair amount of money for phones and utilities, food and transportation, and going to events and entertainment. Another good question. Do some of the jobs give you an opportunity to stay for additional semesters or periods of time if you are a good fit? The answer depends on which program you're looking at. So the one on the left, the Duoc Community College program, that is a one-year only program. You cannot extend or renew or continue to work at those community colleges. It's set up, on paper, it's actually set up as an internship program. You're getting paid a stipend. And because of labor restrictions and university policies, they're not able to hire on full-time foreign teachers. They have rules in place that they have to hire Chilean teachers, actually. On the other hand, the Teach in Chile professional program, you can extend. This is a lot more flexible. It's a private company that's got just more ability to respond. So if you go for 2 semesters or even 1 semester in the fall, and you choose to continue working with them, you can extend your contract, you can extend your visa, and continue to live and work in Chile as a private instructor. Okay, I've got a couple questions that I'd like to respond to privately. So I'm going to pause answering questions for a moment. What I would say is please continue sending in questions as you think of them, and I'll come back in just a couple minutes and continue answering.